Hello everyone, I'm Helen, the Crimson Cadaverous, wishing you a happy Aries New Moon, which peaks on April 1st, early in the morning here in New Orleans, which we're Central Time, so it might actually peak on March 31st, late in the evening if you are west of here. And this new moon peaks in the sign of Aries, of course, which is associated with Mars, the planet of the divine masculine. And this new moon is just one point, in my opinion, in a long saga that has been going on between Mars and Venus that started last fall. So Venus moved into the sign of Capricorn at the end, I believe, of November of last year, and actually stayed in that sign until the beginning of this month. So during that time, it stationed retrograde and ended up meeting up with the planet Pluto 3 different times. During this time, I believe Venus, which is associated with the divine feminine, was transforming. And so some things that are attached to Venus are love, you know, of course I said the divine feminine, beauty, values, money. So anything along those lines have been things that we've been kind of either consciously or unconsciously contemplating over the last few months. Well, Mars, of course, the planet of the divine masculine, our power, our courage, our drive, met up with Venus in the sign of Capricorn in January. And they started, you know, hanging out with one another. And then in March, beginning of this month, they both met up again with Pluto. So this is the 3rd time that Venus met up with Pluto. And then, of course, Mars was there for this 3rd time. So in a way, I feel like, you know, the journey that both Mars and Venus were going on separately, they basically came together, you know, kind of melding the idea of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, which of course exists within all of us. So with this, I believe this new moon, you know, which is the first new moon of this astrological year, is kind of just beginning to allow us to understand that transformation that we all went through individually and collectively around the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So with this new moon, of course, it's going to be associated with Mars. And currently where Mars is at right now is in Aquarius. And Mars is hanging out with Venus still. You know, she's going to move away eventually, but not quite yet. And hanging out with Venus, but also hanging out with Saturn. So obviously, Mars and Venus went through a transformation with Pluto. So Pluto is the planet of creative destruction and transformation, shadow self, you know, the underworld. But now that, you know, Mars and Venus, you know, those themes kind of were broken down by Pluto, now they are hanging out with Saturn. So Saturn is kind of more about building back up. So it's almost as if, you know, with this new moon, we're kind of initiating a building back up. So, you know, we're kind of starting with the Mars themes, of course, with the Aries new moon, and then we're going to move on to the Venus themes when we have the Libra full moon on April 16th, and then the Taurus new moon solar eclipse on April 30th. And then around that same time on April 29th, Pluto goes, or stations retrograde. So it's almost like we get a time to reassess the transformation that we kind of went through and how we've been like recalibrating and restructuring and rebuilding it. So kind of keep that in mind at the end of next month that we may kind of revisit the Pluto themes that came up around, you know, Mars and Venus over this winter. But so anyways, that's kind of like the main themes that I see going on with this new moon. We do also have a the new moon conjunct Mercury and Chiron, so we're kind of like maybe possibly being able to communicate some things that we've healed, either communicate it to ourselves or communicate it to others. We are approaching the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, which will be exact on April 12th. So a lot of things going on, which a lot of people are talking about that, but I really just wanted to talk about this Mars-Venus, kind of saga that's been going on. And I really think that a lot of it has to do with the, you know, just kind of restructuring of how we see ourselves, and how, you know, we kind of combine, you know, these different parts of ourselves. Because I think there's something very limiting about, you know, the society that we have ourselves in, where we structure ourselves in a way where we must be masculine or we must be feminine, and we can't allow for the fact that we exist in a space where both, you know, both can exist within us. And of course they do. And when we embrace both sides of ourselves, we can see ourselves as whole. So instead of, you know, in past relationships, we've always kind of been looking to have people complete us, you know, looking for our other half. Well, now I think, you know, with this transformation that we're going through with, you know, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, we can actually see ourselves already as whole. And then when we attract a partner, we attract somebody who's already whole too, that can just amplify us. So I think that's just a theme that's kind of either consciously or unconsciously kind of permeating the collective right now. So anyways, I kind of wanted to pull some cards around this. Before I started making this video, I was going through, you know, I have this herbiary book that has oracle cards in it, and I was going through those cards, just kind of like shuffling them around. And this card, the Light and the Darkness, which is the St. John's War card, was, you know, turned over the other way in the deck, so I pulled it out. But I really like this card because it's got the sun there, and with us kind of going into spring, you know, which started like about a week and a half ago, I really think we want to remember that the sun is always there, you know, even if we can't see it. And we have been going through a lot of transformations, so things have been a little dark, especially all the time we've been spending with Pluto. Pluto's been meeting up with a lot of the planets, not just Mars and Venus. That there is, you know, there's the light and the darkness. Sometimes that has to be us. You know, we have to find the light in the darkness. I wanted to pull some cards from my Wonderland Tarot deck too. Okay, and actually, I just had a card pull through. Oops, gotta figure out where she went. Ah, there she is. Okay, she is a great card. Okay, so the Queen of Peppermills, which is the associate actually with regular tarot, the Queen of Wands. So she's the Queen of Fire. That is perfect for the Aries New Moon. You know, I think we all need to be kind of like the Queen of Fire, the Queen of Wands, Queen of Peppermills. Just taking charge of our own purpose. We are the masters of our own destiny. We don't need someone else to tell us what we're supposed to be doing or, you know, decide for us. We are the Queen of Peppermills, and we need to remember that for ourselves. I think that is a wonderful message for this new moon. And I also have the Judgment card at the bottom, which Judgment is interesting because, you know, it's kind of associated with revelations and rebirth within tarot, but it's also kind of associated with the idea of the apocalypse, which, you know, kind of has some negative connotations, but again, really underneath has to do with revelations and having a rebirth. So I think, you know, all the transformations that we've been going through, you know, with Pluto involved over winter, and the things that we've been contemplating, the things that, you know, just think over the last 6 months, you know, that have, you know, changed your mind for you. I think these are things that we need to honor and just kind of prepare for this next step, because, you know, we've got the Queen of Peppermills energy coming in with this new moon, and we really need to be ready for that. So anyways, like I said, I didn't really go too much into some of the other planetary aspects going on during this new moon. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. I want to kind of keep this short and sweet, and, you know, I think I'm going to be meditating a lot more on this whole Mars-Venus saga, because I think it's got a lot of underlying themes to what's been going on with just kind of us and the world recently. But if y'all have any questions about what I've said today, or you're interested in getting a tarot reading, or talking about your chart, I would love to discuss that with you. And I hope that you all have a wonderful Aries new moon and a great day. Thank you. Goodbye.